against conference opponents. SU took the trip down to Blacksburg. Find out if the Cuse came back to the 3-1-5 with a much-needed win. And on the rank, Syracuse ice hockey battled number 4 Minnesota Duluth to start the new year. The Orange had a chance to keep their momentum against Robert Morris. After a win against Robert Morris, we'll let you know how SU fared in the North Star State. It's on the bench. Let's roll. Welcome inside our cozy Citrus TV studios. Alongside Troy John and Jack Knight, I'm Jake Bone. And fellas, the holiday season is here. Christmas is in 2 weeks, if you can believe it or not. So with that being said, what are your guys' favorite memories or traditions to do this time of year?
My favorite tradition is going to have to be hanging up the Christmas tree every year, I think.
Staple. What about you, Jack?
Getting ready to go home, watch some college football bowl season.
Huge college football playoff that's been shaken up. You know, my favorite thing, it's a little ironic, but it's got to be our On the Bench headlines of the week. And if you thought I was serious, well, no, I'm not kidding, because this might be one of On the Bench's biggest headlines the show's had in a very long time. Out of the Orange, yes, the Syracuse mascot, who's probably got more energy than the Energizer Bunny himself, became the first mascot in history to sign a name, image, and likeness deal with the NIL store. This deal comes as part of the new 2025 Mascot Mania jersey collection, featuring throwback-style jerseys with a graphic of Otto paired with the current number of current Orange football players signed to the NIL store. If you want to copy your merch like I will be doing, head on over to NIL store/Syracuse to support the best mascot in the country. On the court, Syracuse women's basketball welcomed 3 new transfers to the squad. Dominique Darius, the 5'10" point guard, comes in after a disappointing junior year with USC, reporting just 9 minutes per game, the lowest in her career. Aurora Allman, the 6'4" forward, joins SU after 2 years with Miami, appearing in 19 games for the Hurricanes. The sophomore tallied just a point and 2 rebounds per game in 5 minutes an outing last season. Ayindamola Kimbawala, the 6'5" center from Nigeria, joins the Orange after 3 seasons with the Auburn Tigers, where she shot over 50% from the field. Well, a lot of positives around the hill to say the least, but one team hoping to climb back up to preseason aspirations is Syracuse men's lacrosse. After back-to-back losses against number 6 Maryland and number 15 Harvard a year ago, number 11 Syracuse hosted a longtime rival in number 7 Johns Hopkins. The Orange and Blue Jays meeting for the 63rd time ever. We're going to flip this one to the second quarter, game tied at 4 under 9 minutes to go. And for the Orange, it's Tyler Cortez. He rips one into the net to put the Orange in front. 5-4. Blue Jays will later tie. First half winding down, Charlie Eiler slots it home in front of the net. 6-5 Hopkins at the break. Fast forward third quarter, Orange down by 1. 9 minutes to go. Luke Rowe falling down. He lasers it in. The balance from the junior, but Johns Hopkins kept responding. How about another point from Eiler on to Bauer? The assist, a career day for Eiler. 7-6 Hopkins, and then under 2 minutes to go, Orange down by 2. Cortez, how about a career day for yourself? He nets it home to cut the deficit to 1, ended the day with 4 points. Then tie game with under 8 to go in the 4th. And Joey Spallina, hidden ball trick, didn't fake out our cameraman Adam Avon. He faked out the rest of the JMA wireless dome. And the Orange up by 1 heading into the 4th. 10-9 Orange midway through the 4th quarter, and Eiler again does it himself, lasers it in to tie the game at 10. And then for the Orange, ring around the rosy, pockets full of goals for Luke Rowe. Another one for the junior. The Orange with the lead with under 7 to go. Owen Hiltz gave the Orange a little bit of a cushion, a goal there to give the Orange a 12-10 lead. And then in a game of this stakes, you gotta shout out the goalie. A save from McCool there ended the day with 12, a career-high saves for the senior, and the Orange take down the Blue Jays 13-10 for their second straight win against the Blue Jays. Well, from one team trying to climb back up the rankings to one avoiding to slide down. Syracuse women's basketball took the trip down to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. The Orange sat at a measly 2-8 conference record going into this one, their worst since 2022. Meanwhile, the Hokies were riding their lowest win total in the ACC since 2021. A great environment for hoops in the Castle Coliseum. You see the cheerleaders there, everyone getting set for action. Camp and the Orange win the tip. Camp on the right alley kick to Burrows in the corner. The shot, cha-ching! The first of 8 3-pointers for the sophomore, the most ever at Virginia Tech. And then how about another one? Butter. Why not call her Bullseye Burrows for the performance she had? And the Orange riding high into the second quarter, where Georgia Woolley, the captain, said, hey, I want to be in on the show as well. The tough and one layup from the senior. And then a minute later, Woolley again to the cup, the high arcing reverse, another and one. The Orange up 13. Woolley again says, hey, I'll hit the hot hand. Burrows again, another 3 for her. Syracuse up by 12 going into the break, but Virginia Tech, credit them. They turned it up in the second half. Lainey White had 20 on the day, the 3-pointer there to cut the lead to single digits, and then 30 seconds to go. How about in the paint as well? The friendly roll for her, and then skipping to the fourth quarter, where Syracuse was up 5 points in the final frame, the 4-minute mark. How about Carly Wenzel? Top of the key bang for her. She had 24 points, led Virginia Tech with all scorers. And then a minute to go, how about the dagger for the Orange? Angelica Velez, bang. She hits the shot. Syracuse goes on to win by 6. A huge win for Felicia Leggett-Jack and company, and the 800th career win for Syracuse's program. A huge win for the women's hoops, and an even bigger opportunity for a massive win on the ice. Syracuse women's ice hockey had a chance to start off 2025 with a bang against number 4 Minnesota Duluth. Could the Orange pull off an upset for the record books? Well, in Game 1, clearly not the case. Syracuse falls 6-2 to the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs pulled ahead in the second period with 3 goals. Olivia Wallen had one of those goals in the second period. She ended the day with 2. And then on the other side, Allie Kelly, who's really been the rock and soul for Syracuse, 44 saves, yes, but an 88 save percentage. Syracuse winless all time when she stops under 90% of her shots. But in Game 2, Kelly came to play, stopping over 96% of the shots she faced, and Syracuse falls 2-1 to the number 4 team in the country, Minnesota Duluth. Both teams notched a goal in the first period, but it was the Bulldogs who pulled it out. A game-winning goal from Caitlin Kramer 3 minutes into the third period. Well, we're up against a break on the bench, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, our 2 analysts, Ben and Jack, go at it in the Wolf of Waverly Avenue. On the Bench continues after this. Welcome back to Q's Countdown. Alongside Troy John and Jack Knight, I'm Jake Bowen. Guys, whenever I hear the word game, my ears perk up because anything can happen. And with that, we've got the Wolf of Waverly Avenue for us. I'm going to ask our analysts a series of questions. They're either going to agree and buy the take or disagree and sell. Things might get heated, guys, so buckle up. We'll start with probably the biggest person talked about in the Syracuse fan base right now, and that's Adrian Autry. Has gone off to a good start this year, but a 14-9 record last year. Troy, is Autry, as of now, on the hot seat?
He is on the hot seat, and I'm going to tell you why, Jack. This is a coach that has not lived up to the Syracuse basketball expectations. You're behind a head coach in Jim Boeheim. You've learned under him for all this time. You then step up into the head coaching role, and so far in KenPom rankings at least, this is going to sound a little nerdy, but they finished 80th and 115th last season, just 14 wins. Last year was one of the worst seasons in Syracuse basketball history. They've been 1-8 against ranked opponents the last 2 years. They haven't beaten a non-con Power 5 opponent since late 2023, and that was against Oregon at the Sanford Pentagon. But since then, this Syracuse team doesn't really have an identity. It didn't have an identity last year. So with the state of this team right now, which I do believe is going to be good this year, I believe that, but this Syracuse team right now has not shown anything under Adrian Autry. He's going to be on the hot seat this year, no matter how you twist it.
Guys, I am going to have to sell this take. It is head coach Adrian Autry's first year with a real team, the first year that Syracuse has spent the money, gone out, got a top-tier freshman class, got top-tier transfers. They competed in a tough players-era tournament, almost took down Houston, the number 3 team in the country, played a tough first half against Iowa State, and then came right back home to beat number 19 Tennessee. This is the best group, the most talented group that Autry's had. You cannot fault him for having a lack of talent in previous years.
This is exactly why I love playing games, guys, because you get disagreement and you really get the ball rolling and the heat churning up. With that being said, Jack, I'm going to stay with you. Will Syracuse men's basketball go above 500 in conference play this season?
Guys, I am going to buy this take. Syracuse, we are seeing a more balanced team already. They are able to have the length to be able to guard teams, bigger teams. They had struggles last year against Stanford with height. Other teams, they only have 4 ACC opponents on their schedule, currently ranked inside the top 25. They get UNC at home, a short trip to Virginia. I think they've got the muster to do it.
I think I spoke a lot harshly on Autry, but so far, yes, his team has been good this year so far. But the issue here is that how many wins are you going to get to be able to get over to get over 500? I think you have the wins. Speak of teams like Pitt, Virginia Tech, FSU, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Cal. Those are easily winnable games this year. Even UNC at home, they beat them a couple years ago. That is definitely a possibility. But again, for me, it comes down to how many of those wins are going to be quality. As we can go on to the next segment before this team needs the quality wins. And however you beat these ACC teams, you need to beat them really well. You need to beat them convincingly. So I do think they'll actually go over 500 this year. It's just a matter of how they do it.
All right, well, for the big one, the big picture, Syracuse hasn't made the big dance since 2021, but they made the Sweet 16 when they got there. Troy, as of this year, do you think Syracuse will make March Madness?
Adrian Autry's job depends on Syracuse making the NCAA tournament. I think Syracuse is just going to fall short this year. You have that win over Tennessee. That is a big win. Right now, though, it's a quad 2 win. It's probably going to be up to a quad 1 win at the end of the year, but how many quad 1 wins are you going to get? Like I said, you have a lot of beatable ACC opponents that you know you're better than. But the question is that how much is that going to rise into KenPom, into the net rankings? Net rankings especially, Hughes is still in the 70s at this rate right now. They're 3-17 against quad 1 opponents, like I mentioned, going into the year. So how would they do against the North Carolina? How would they do against the Duke, a Wake Forest, a Clemson even? These are teams that you need to beat. As much as important it is to beat a team like Cal, you need to beat teams like a Wake Forest, like those fringe tournament teams, even be competitive against a team like Louisville. I just think that they're fall short, and even then, is the ACC even good enough? That's always been a question every year. I don't think Syracuse has the horses, so I'm going to sell this take. I don't think they're going to be marching as of right now.
Guys, I want to buy this take.
Really?
We just saw over the last 2 weeks what Syracuse looks like against the top teams in the country. Close loss against Houston, close first
Close
half
losses aren't going to get you
against
into the tournament.
Iowa State, a win against Tennessee in the Dome. If they can do that over the course of a season, beating those unranked ACC teams, stacking up wins, beating the beatable teams they have in December, they will have enough wins and enough strong of a resume to get in the dance in March.
I think 20 wins has to be your cup right there. It has to be 20 wins, and they will be. I think they'll have a shot then.
I love doing this, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this one on Q's Countdown. For one more time, alongside Troy John and Jack Knight, I'm Jake Bowen saying so long from snowy Syracuse.